All right, we are joined on this episode by an actor who has appeared in films including Louder Than Bombs, Imperium, and starring alongside Tom Hanks in Greyhound. You can also see him on the hit Netflix series 13 Reasons Why, and most recently as the lead in Paper Street Pictures' horror western feature The Pale Door. He is Devin Druid. Devin, thank you so much for being on the program with us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here talking.
Yeah, I mean, it's quarantine, so there's not much of an excuse for you to be somewhere else, right?
Yeah, I know, exactly. Have nothing else to do. It's not every day you get to do like press for a movie in the middle of a global pandemic. So
right, silver linings, I guess. But I'm sure you are quite busy. So in all seriousness, thank you for joining. The way we usually like to start is just by asking our guests, how you got into the film industry. What gave you that initial bug and interest in films and acting as a medium? Did you always know you were going to be an actor, or how did that love begin?
No, in short, no. I don't know. I think growing up, my family was always pretty artistic, and my mom was always like very good at like helping foster interests and things like we were passionate about. So like my older sisters loved ice skating and dance and playing instruments and photography and things like that. And as a kid, like my mom also did ballet and sang and had a beautiful voice, and we were always very, artsy, creative. But I was like the athlete of the family, I guess. I played a lot of sports, and for a long time I was really interested in that. And I was in this like gifted program at my middle school and was like really interested in sciences, specifically physics. I thought was just super, super interesting. So for a long time, I thought that was going to be my future. I guess I was like, I guess I'll go off to a college, play some lacrosse and study some science and, get a start that way. But I ended up actually injuring my hip pretty bad, and I needed surgery, and I was on bed rest for a while. And my little brother, Aiden Fisk, who's also an actor, he's the one that really started everything. And he just started going on auditions. And as soon as I could walk, I was like, I need to get out of the house. So I went with him. And I thought it was so interesting. And I was like, this is amazing that you're actually, auditioning for these things. I want to try it. And then I just fell in love. And here we are several years later.
So how old were you when you first went with him on one? Were you still pretty young?
I must have been like 13 or 14, because my brother had wanted to act since he was like, since he could talk. His favorite movies were The Phantom of the Opera and The Pianist. Like I remember growing up in Richmond, there was a production of Wicked that came to town. And I remember my mom had him call into the radio station, and he sang Defying Gravity on the air, and they gave him free tickets to see this production.
That's amazing.
In Richmond. Yeah. So it was just, things like that, he was super into from a young age and like knew it. Yeah. So he really got it started. And then, I guess I just followed suit afterwards.
I was going to ask, were those theater productions, or was he also involved in acting on camera as well?
He just loved movies, and he loved performing arts, and he wanted to do something with that. And, my mom, especially in Virginia, was like, I don't even know how I'm going to get you started in this, this industry is in New York, in LA, and I don't know what to even do here in the middle of suburban Virginia. So we really started, just like local casting sites online that would tell you that something is in your area that needs like featured extras or various things like that. So we got started with, just featured extra roles for short films and low budget indies filming in the area. And then we lived very close to VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University, which has a really cool student film program, and did a lot of acting for like student films and thesis films and things of that sort. And it wasn't until, I must have been like 13, 14. And my brother and I had seen this audition online for this college student named James Casey Maderno, who is an NYU student. He was doing his thesis film, and he had written this short film, the script called Disgrace. And it's about this like young boy who his dad is like kind of comes home, and, his mom goes through his room to clean it up or whatever, and ends up finding like pornography, but it's like it's like more violent. It's like not the sort of thing you'd usually expect like a kid getting into. And it's about like this dad confronting this kid, and you basically find out that like this dad is very abusive himself, and that these kids have grown up in this abusive household. And it's the way that these kids have been kind of raised learning that this is like normal. And it's very powerful. And it has these two brothers, and they're the same age as me and my brother. And we ended up doing this film, and I went to the short film festival in New York, and that got us with managers. And from then on, just kind of kept going up and up.
Now, was it a matter of working out of Virginia for a while, or did you guys go to New York first, or was it an eventual just straight move to LA?
Oh, no, it was definitely. So we started in Virginia, and then that NYU student film with Casey called Disgrace. It's actually, I think it's on like Vimeo or something. Like you can find it. It also stars like Stephen Ogg, who plays Trevor in Grand Theft Auto 5, which is pretty sick. He's also in like The Walking Dead, and I think he's on Westworld now too. He's a cool dude. But yeah, we did that. And then from there, getting the manager in New York. Then we started to do more work in New York until finally booking 13 Reasons Why when I was 18, and then coming to LA after that. We were very like conscious of that idea of like little fish, big pond, and you know, the competition of it all, and not wanting to jump into the ocean too soon. And because we knew that we would just get completely overlooked, especially if we didn't have the training or the experience.
Yeah, it's good that you came into it with the right expectations, but the awesome thing is that it worked out for you, and you've already got to work with some amazing directors and actors even so far in your career. How has your experience been collaborating with directors, like, and you know, finding the balance between your own approach as an actor and your own methods versus kind of understanding what a director wants and how to work with their process?
Yeah, I think that's one of the cooler parts of this job is collaboration, and you know, the idea that not one person has all the answers or knows exactly what to do, and it is that collaborative effort in creating something that makes it feel more human and more, you know, pours more passion into it, especially for myself, because I'm definitely my own biggest critic, and so I can't accurately judge myself. So it's good to have, you know, someone else leading me. It's definitely like it helps my work ethic and it helps my process. And it also just helps me see things in a different way, because I'm like very like kind of militaristic, like brain, you know, like structural. And sometimes I need help, you know, having someone pull me out of that. So definitely like getting to work with different directors and seeing different sides, and also like seeing the ways that different directors shoot or block or rehearse or all these different things is just like every experience is like another tool in the toolbox. And it's like probably the best way to learn in this industry is just like working with more and more people and like learning more and seeing different processes.
Right. I mean, you say you're your own worst critic. I think a lot of folks are, but you're certainly doing something right, because so many filmmakers continue to discover what we could clearly see and what director Aaron Kuntz could clearly see in you. And that's that you've got the goods. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I will say, not to embarrass you, not to put you on the spot, but I mean, Becky, I don't know if you know this, but Best Picture winning film director Barry Jenkins gave him a shout out in like this unsolicited tweet not too long ago, just from seeing his performance in Louder Than Bombs, which he is fantastic in. So that's got to make you feel pretty good about your work. Again, I'm not trying to make it squirm.
I saw that because I follow him. I have followed him since I saw Moonlight, which was just incredible, and have just been such a fan of his work. And he didn't follow me at that time, and so I just like scrolling through my feed, and I saw my name, and I was like, "What is this? Like, who's talking about me?" And I was like, "Barry." And yeah, I like called my mom, and I was freaking out, and I quickly retweeted, and I want to frame it, but I'm not entirely sure if that is appropriate or not.
Oh, it totally is. Frame it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think there's a website that is even dedicated to custom framing for tweets.
Wait, really?
Yeah, you can like you put a link into the tweet that you want to frame, and then it, you know, creates a nice mat and a gold frame and everything. So that's totally what you should do with the Barry Jenkins tweet
right now.
Yes.
Sticker Mule coming soon. Framed tweets. I don't know. I think
there's probably a few different places that do it now. It's one of those things you see like scrolling through Instagram, right? Like, what is this?
Yeah, just on the explore page.
I mean, hey man, if businesses and like bars can put the first dollar they ever make up on the wall, he can frame a tweet.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure, right?
Yeah, I think it's totally acceptable.
But no, that was just like completely unreal, because, you know, like it's one thing to have like someone who has inspired you as a filmmaker and someone who has like who you look up to their work and you would love to work with them. It's, you know, one thing for someone like that to say something kind about you, but like you said, like unsolicited, like didn't even follow me, was just on it. And it's also like a piece of work I did when I was 16. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I guess I did a good thing when I was really young.
So I'm curious if you have any words of advice for new directors on things to avoid when working with actors. Like, you often get new directors saying things like be sadder or more emotion or things like that. Can you give us some advice about things not to do?
Yeah, I would definitely say like don't wait until the last second to set up your shot list. please, because it's so important to come onto set like with a call sheet, with everyone prepared, and to know what you're going to be shooting, and to know what you're going into. Specifically, if you're doing any like heavy dialogue scenes, or if you're working with kids, or younger actors in more dramatic, more emotional scenes, just do their coverage first. It's going to make your life so much easier, because especially when like younger actors, you definitely don't have, and I'm talking about like younger than me, like when I was 16, like I definitely didn't have the stamina to do 7 takes of 5 different setups of something where I need to be bawling. So if you can like spare, some time to just do that coverage, just so that you can get those crying scenes done for someone else, and just spare them so that they can stay hydrated the rest of the day, it's definitely going to save you. I think there is a thing there was one scene in the Pale Door that we were doing that it was one of the scenes where Jake was crying in the church, and I think Aaron wanted to shoot a different angle, and I was like, hey, what do you think about doing this coverage first? It's going to be, I think, easier on us in the long run. And he was like, hey, actually, probably a good idea. And I was like, cool, collaboration, let's go. So that's definitely it. Know your shots, set up your coverage in the way that's going to make the most sense. I also think like when you're giving direction, I've been given some like very vague direction before, and I've had to like just be like, is this what they mean? So I think just, not everybody can be super descriptive or like super detailed or in depth, but just finding the way to like learning to talk to people, I think is like super important to be a good director. And just an easy one, just, like treat your cast and your crew correctly, like treat everybody with kindness and keep everybody on set comfortable and look out for everybody. Just because you're, the big person in the big chair leading everything, that means that you also have a responsibility to everybody around you to make sure that everyone's being treated correctly, that, nobody's uncomfortable, nobody's being harassed or going through any horrible things, especially in 2020 when we're seeing all these like atrocities finally come to light. I think it's important for everybody to look out for each other and take care of one another and make sure that, we are being more vocal and communicative about these things so that we can keep people safe and keep making movies and doing things that we love in a respectful and appropriate manner.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned that. It's difficult and painful to have all these things coming out about the industry that we all love. But at the same time, I'm so glad it's happening, and I just hope that it inspires people to be better and to make those sort of changes and be really mindful and cognizant of how often this sort of behavior does go on, and that we all have a responsibility to try and curb that.
Exactly. And I think the more it's like talked about, the more that like people who have maybe contributed to that behavior feel less comfortable in doing so, which we should, you should make like creepiness and things like that uncomfortable, don't let people feel like they're allowed to just treat other people like that. But yeah, I mean, like it's a pretty easy thing. I think, you spend so much time with your cast and crew and you all work together 12-hour days for a month or more. And, you get to know everybody, and I think it's pretty easy to foster like a good communication between everybody.
Definitely. That should be fundamental 101. I did want to go back to kind of a thought that inspired me as you were talking about putting yourself in the actor's shoes and kind of thinking about what experience they will go through, especially in really big emotional scenes. Mm-hmm. And I've often heard people say that directors should try acting so that they can actually understand how to support an actor. And I know I went to film school, and in our directing class, that's one of the things we had to do was kind of take turns acting and directing one another so that we could better understand that experience. Are there other things that you would recommend to directors to kind of better prepare for building out their collaborative approach in that actor-director relationship?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, obviously someone who has taken the time to develop the script and, wants to be directing it, it's someone who has a vision and wants to fulfill that vision and bring it to life. But with that, there has to be collaboration. There has to be, give and take. So not being like too protective over this thing that you're making, because then you get to that point where you're not collaborative and you're just shutting everybody's ideas away. So I think it's like important to come at it from an open approach and keep in mind that other people are going to have ideas, and that other people, especially when you bring actors aboard who help fill out these characters that at one point were just, ideas on a page, and now they're people with a voice and a face and, a posture and a stance and things like that. And so much of the filmmaking process comes together once you're finally on set with actors in makeup, in wardrobe, and you do see that vision start to shift. So I think it's, and oftentimes it's all for the better because it is collaborative. You hire people who are experts in their field. That's why they're, doing their jobs at the level they're doing because they're good at it. So it's good to, stay open-minded about that collaboration. So I think like in short, you obviously like stay passionate and like stay, true to your vision, but remember that vision, it's going to become more than just yours, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that totally does.
Okay, cool.
And that's the magic of making movies, right? It's a bunch of different visions kind of cobbled together.
Exactly. It comes from mind to ours,
Yeah, we've had a few filmmakers on the show today, but you're actually the first actor I believe we've had as a guest, at least actor, primary and profession-wise. And the filmmakers do talk a lot about how it's a lot of small compromises, but still, trying to maintain the vision. But it's good to hear from the other side too, that, understanding that it is good ideas can come from all sides and compromising yourself sometimes for the director, but also keeping true to what you think,
Yeah. And I mean, like I've definitely shown up on set, ready to, film a scene where I've made a decision in my head through my research and through my rehearsals, and I get on set and I do it, and the director's like, no, this isn't really like what I envisioned. I don't think, like, I really think we should try it a different way. And, I'll be like, really? Like, are you sure? Like, I really think it's like this. And then you try it because, you have to be open to that compromise. You have to at least, try it, because then there's so many other things that like you can't even consider, it's like, maybe the idea that I had works great in this one take as like one scene, but maybe the other way works better in context in the edit alongside, the scene that comes before it in the script when it comes through the cut or whatever. And it's just because of all of those different moving cogs in the machine, you have to make sure that you're picking the right piece. And so being, led and guided by other people with great ideas who are also helping is just, it's one of the coolest parts of the job.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love it when you end up collaborating and maybe you try something, you just play around with it a bit. And you're like, that doesn't sound right. But then you discover whatever it is, that magic moment, even though it was kind of unintentional, maybe you stumble across it. That's some of the fun of working with, actual human beings and having these organic experiences is you get to discover those moments. And
yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm my own biggest critic. So I've had, so many times where I've, filmed a take of a scene and I was like, no, that was the worst. And the director's like, really? That was my favorite. Like, that was perfect. That was everything I wanted. And I'm like, really? Are you sure? Like, that really felt horrible. And maybe I'll even see it in playback and I'll still be like, I still don't really like it. But then you see it in context with the rest of it. And it's like, I actually remember, during the production of season 4 of 13 Reasons Why, season 3 was coming out. And so we were sent the episodes. And I remember I watched the first episode, which my characters featured in heavily because of the end of season 2 is this crazy cliffhanger. And I remember I watched that first episode and I literally like sobbed to sleep because I was so disappointed in myself. I was like, this is horrible. Like, it's not at all what I thought I was doing in my head. Like, this is, just like one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made. And then, all my cast saw it and everybody was just calling me and they were like, oh my God, like what you did here, like we just loved it so much. I remember getting like an email from one of the directors from the season that I hadn't talked to, John Kretschmer, and he was like, your performance this season is phenomenal. And I was like, really? Like I literally cried watching the episode because I hated it so much. So it just, it goes to show that you can never know everything. And yeah.
Always good to get a healthy dose of perspective outside of yourself.
Exactly.
So I wanted to transition a bit and talk more about the PLAE DOOR.
Yes.
So Sean may know more than me since he was actually a producer on the movie, but I don't really know the story of how you ended up a cast member on the film.
I honestly don't really know either.
You just showed up on set. And you're like, hey,
while Devin cried himself to sleep for his performance, he made Aaron and others cry themselves to sleep due to how great his performance was.
Oh, man.
That's the short answer.
Come on now. Yeah, I mean, it was, I was sent the script and my manager sent it to me and he was like, yeah, read the script. Let me know if you're interested and we can set up like a Skype session or something. And I remember just going through the log line and just seeing, like Band of Cowboys, Coven of Witches, Fight It Out. And I was like, I'm in. This is sick. Cool idea. Witches. Let's go. And then I read the script and I was a little bit more serious about it after the fact. But it was one of those scripts where like I started reading it and I genuinely couldn't put it down because I was, actually anticipating what was coming next. And it was cool. It's like rare to have like a page turner of a script like that. And then through that, I was like, yeah, like I'm definitely super interested. Like it's got, like these super interesting themes and elements, and it's like very entertaining while also having this core emotional story about these two brothers wanting to protect each other and what they were willing to give to protect each other. And so, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll talk to Aaron. And I think we tried to talk on Skype and it wouldn't work because Skype hates me. So we ended up FaceTiming, and he was just like the kindest, like most teddy bear of a dude I'd ever met. And we just got along so well as human beings first, and then talking about film and movies together was awesome. And I remember he had even said something to me about how he had even looked through like my social media, and he, that we had like common ideologies regarding just the state of the world and like how we should treat people and how we should look out for each other. And he told me how that was so important to him because he wants his film and his sets to be a safe space for everybody. He wants it to be inclusive, accommodating. He wants to have just a set full of people who are passionate about the work, no matter, who they are, where they come from, what they look like, what they believe in, and have everybody, come together and be inclusive and work together on this really cool thing. And I just, that was, I think, the first time a director had, singled out that sort of idea and that sort of, want for who they want to bring into their crew. And I just thought that spoke a lot to him as a person with empathy and a person who really cared about other people. And I think from there I was just totally in.
Given that it's a period film, I don't know that you have too many of those on your resume. Did you?
I don't think so.
Find any way to prepare for that role, knowing that it was, set in the 1800s and had like the cowboy vibe to it?
Okay, this is the thing. I think I've been saying 1600s in like all my interviews.
Well, there is without spoiling, there is a reference to the 1600s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, part of it, I started dabbling and doing lots of research into the real life Dalton gang, knowing that was probably just more of a historical thing that you could tie the movie to as like an Easter egg, rather than, these characters actually being based off of the real life Dalton gang. So that was, again, cool perspective. And I dabbled with the idea of like a more kind of like Southern drawl or like some sort of accent, but I just didn't work for the character. I didn't think, especially after meeting Zach, he didn't use much of an accent in the movie either. So I didn't think it, especially as Jake being the youngest, kind of growing out of these generational, like handed down, things like my great grandmother is actually from London. She's from Britain. She was a war bride during World War II. And, then she came over to the United States, and like, just because she has an accent, her kids don't. So that kind of made sense. And then I think just a lot of the research for the character went into, not paying much attention to the time that it was set in, but more just who the character was and filling out those areas, because it's going to be the wardrobe, the set, the props, and the storyline that really helps, sell the idea of the tone and the era and everything like that. And it's going to be more the work of empathy and the research that I do into the character that makes him feel more human, alive in this world. So a lot of that research for Jake was, just his pain of loss throughout the film. He lost his family. And so, yeah, most of it was just, like just things about this character. He's someone who, he's the youngest in his family. He wants to, grow into, whatever his idea is of, like a grown, strong, confident young man in this era and what that means, and all the, trials and things that come with that. And, his desire to be able to be the kind of person who can protect those that he cares about. And then I also did learn how to like flip around my little revolver, which I never got to do in the movie because he had never like held a gun before, but I was like, it's still cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you have to take it home so you could flip it?
Nah, no, the guy that did like the gun props, I don't think he liked me very much. So I wasn't about to to take his little prop guns home.
No, all good. Let's get into this because it's going to come up, and I'm sure it's come up on some of your Pale Door press as well.
Oh, probably.
No movie shoot is necessarily easy. There's no doubt. But Pale Door, we can say without a doubt, was difficult. And that's just weather challenges alone. For folks who don't know, the movie was shot in Oklahoma, and the cast and crew braved 2 F5 tornadoes, some flash floods, some golf ball-sized hail, among other things. Oh my
God, I forgot about the hail.
The hail, yeah. Well, it's easy when a tornado is coming at you. You forget about the other thing.
Yeah.
But how did any of these challenges impact you or affect you on set or your work? Or like, did you encounter any other unique challenges yourself kind of along the way or on that shoot?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the tornado was crazy. So with so much of the movie was all filmed at night. So, we had to do a lot of night shoots, which meant sleeping all day, waking up at 6 to go to work at 9, and then shooting until 7 in the morning when the sun comes up, then going home, sleeping from 8 in the morning to 6 again. So I remember in this area of Oklahoma that we were filming in, there wasn't a lot of food options. But next to the hotel, like across the street from the hotel, was this sushi place that I went to. And I remember getting food and finishing and then putting my headphones on to walk back to the hotel. And as I'm, approaching the hotel, I see everybody's like outside looking up at the sky. And so I take my little headphone out and I'm like, what's going on? And as soon as I take the headphone out, I just start hearing the tornado siren just and I was like, oh my God, what's happening? And I felt like I was in Twister. I was like waiting for the cow to come. And she never did, thank goodness. But it was scary. And then they made us all go into the laundry room. And Natasha and I were just sitting there going, oh my God, we might die in Oklahoma. And calling my mom, being like, I don't know what's happening. But yeah, so that was crazy. The thunderstorms impacted like a lot of what we could shoot at what time. It was a lot of like rearranging scene orders and things like that. Towards the end of the film, there's a moment where we're like soaked and wet. And when it's actually raining, it got very cold, even though it was super humid. And I think there is even, without spoiling anything, I'll be pretty vague about it. But there is, in the initial script, there's a big set piece towards the third act of the film that was going to be a blood pit. And due to weather, we could not do that. And it had to be changed into something else at literally like the last second. I don't know how everybody made that happen. Like Amber and Roman and Cameron and everybody and all you. I don't know how you guys all like made it happen, but we were able to literally change out the biggest set piece in the movie at the final hour, which was insane. So yeah, Oklahoma threw a lot of curveballs at us, but I think we made it out all right.
Sounds incredibly stressful for everyone involved. I mean, I'm a director myself, so I've definitely been in not that situation. That just sounds like a complete nightmare. So empathies to everyone involved with that.
Yeah.
But I know how stressful it is when everybody's looking at you to find a solution. And then from the actor's perspective, how much of it do you feel like you're kind of like just, I want to help, but I don't know what to do? And is it kind of like this weird feeling of being helpless?
Oh, absolutely. It's like, I mean, like I can throw out ideas, but I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what we're able to do right now. And, on the other end, I'm sitting there like exhausted, half falling asleep, soaking wet. And I'm like, I don't know. We should just make a movie. And like, yeah, we can't.
That might be one instance where the actors were quite relieved they were not going to have to be submerged in a bloody pit.
In a blood pit pool. Yeah. I think someone, what was his name? I can't remember his name. He had built the church and he literally dug the pit by hand.
Even Joshua Miller.
What? Yeah, it was Josh. Oh my God. That man was like a tank.
Poor Josh. So hopefully all of these experiences didn't ward you off from participating in another horror genre.
Oh, no. No, it's a good story. It was only a month of my life.
Are there other genres that you're super interested in tackling that you haven't got to yet?
Oh, yes.
Ooh, tell us.
I mean, every interview I talk about how much I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe and how badly I want to be. Like, are we at the point where we can say superhero movies are genre movies?
Yeah. It's a subgenre.
60 DC Marvel movies have come out in a decade. I think that's a genre at this point. If people say Liam Neeson movie is a genre, then yeah, superhero movie.
Have you seen that GIF where there's like 60 cuts in that scene of Liam Neeson climbing the fence?
No, that's amazing.
It's like a 4-second shot of Liam Neeson running and climbing over a fence, and there's literally like 50 to 60 cuts.
Did Baz Luhrmann direct that?
I don't know, but it's a crazy sequence. The reason I ask is because I feel like we're at the point within superhero movies where they have other genres inside of them already. You know, like I would consider like Captain America, the Winter Soldier to be like political thriller superhero movie, and like Thor Ragnarok to be like a comedy superhero movie.
Right, adventure movie.
Yeah, exactly, like buddy cop sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, Iron Man 3. I think that's what happened is they eased up around the time that Edgar Wright Ant-Man movie kind of fell through, and they were being a little too stringent.
Yeah,
I think when they loosened the reins a bit with Phase 2 and 3, you saw Black Panther and Doctor Strange and other movies kind of go a little more a genre movie that happens to have these superheroes in it. So
my girlfriend and I we're on our Marvel Cinematic Universe marathon right now because she has never seen them all. She had seen like 3 of them maybe. So we just finished Ant-Man and we're moving on to Captain America Civil War next, which is super exciting because I remember actually auditioning to be Spider-Man.
Whoa.
And, which is one of like the coolest experiences of my life because Spider-Man has been like my favorite fictional character of all time since I was a child. So that was like so much pressure and I was so nervous and I think I got like 7 callbacks. And so like that was always so cool to me. And then I spoke with Sarah Finn, who does all the casting for the Marvel movies. And she was like, yeah, like I saw all of your Spider-Man auditions. Like I kept calling you back for a reason. And I was like, wait, what? Because I had always assumed it was like her associates, like, kind of helping to filter everything out. And then she would, take a look at like the final ones, but she's like, no, I saw all of your tapes. And I was like, oh my God, what? So yeah, I want to be in a Marvel movie so bad. It would be a dream. I think I can be funny when I'm not trying, but when I'm trying, it kind of falls apart. But like trying a comedy or like a rom-com or something, I think would be fun. I definitely want to try doing that. And then I love like psychological thrillers. And I think they're like some of the most like fun and interesting and like you can do so much within them. So I love psychological thrillers and I want to do more.
Awesome. 7 callbacks. That's a lot of callbacks. I mean, how many were there total? Jeez.
Well, so only a handful of them were for the character of Spider-Man himself, because then I got a couple others for like different cast members within the solo movie. So I taped one in my mom's bedroom. Then I went to New York and I think there's actually like a photo way down on my Instagram of like me wearing like a pair of glasses and I'm like on an Amtrak train and my hair is like parted down the middle. And that was right after my Spider-Man audition. That was like my Peter Parker look.
Aww. That's awesome.
Well, it's good that you're in the back of her mind, Sarah Finns, that is, because I have a feeling she's going to give you that call sooner than later.
I would love that.
You heard him, Sarah, if you're listening.
She's so good.
So I'm curious how closely your personal taste in movies relates to the films you're cast in. Like, do you have a particular genres that you just love, or do you love everything? And because you do have quite a variety so far in your career.
I mean, I love a little bit of everything. I would say like some of my favorite movies of all time are like Good Will Hunting and Dead Poets Society. I love Prisoners with that my buddy Dylan Minnette is in. I love that movie. I think it's so good.
It's a dark turn from Good Will Hunting and the Poets Society.
I know, right?
Prisoners is great and underrated.
It is.
Well,
really
also
good.
It's also like great. It's great homework to just watch Paul Dano. Getting ready to see him as the Riddler. Did you guys see that the Batman trailer?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God. Dude, I think I watched it so many times in a row. I'm so excited.
No, it seems from that trailer alone that he's going to kind of join the annals of the all-time great, on-screen comic book villains.
I think so too.
And I'm not at all surprised. Of dialogue.
He's fantastic in There Will Be Blood, another great movie.
And everything he's in, he's great. He steals the show all the time.
Yeah, he's just fantastic. So I'm super excited. So my favorite, I was just talking about some of my favorite horror movies. My mom actually introduced them to me when I was really young. I have like a vivid memory of her. At one point, I think when I was a kid, there was something wrong with her car, and one of our neighbors let us borrow their Jeep that they didn't take, and like the Jeep had the doors off. And I remember one night, my mom took me to like CVS. We got a bunch of candy and we got a 2-pack movie. And then we went to Taco Bell and we went home. My mom and I had like this, like, it was like the day before Halloween or something. And we got Taco Bell and a bunch of candy. And she introduced me to My Bloody Valentine and April Fool's Day.
Awesome. I hope they were the originals.
Yes, they were.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. The My Bloody Valentine remake's not terrible, but the April Fool's Day remake is.
I haven't seen it, but I just remember like being genuinely scared by those movies and like genuinely freaked, and then just like super, super into them afterwards. And then from there going into like more slasher types of movies. Like I loved like Child's Play, and I loved Friday the 13th. And I even got it, like I get a kick out of Freddy versus Jason just because it's like so funny.
You're in good company here. I love that movie.
It's far from the worst of either franchise, too. Like, crap on it.
It's so entertaining, if nothing else. It's just pure
absolutely. We actually, oh my gosh, during quarantine, we did a Final Destination marathon, too. We watched all of them.
Oh, they're great. So many good kills.
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah. Except the truck one with all the trees on the back just freaks me out every time I'm driving on the 405 now.
Yeah, anytime you're behind a truck, you're like, I'm going to move over.
No, like genuinely, I'm not kidding.
It's funny, Final Destination, actually, a question we often ask in our questionnaire section, which we'll jump into here, is what's your favorite horror movie franchise? And an inordinate amount of guests have actually said Final Destination because its batting average is actually better than quite a few of these franchises.
Yeah.
I would say just throw 4 out the window, but other than that,
they're genuinely entertaining. Can't remember at all the order of the one, but the one with the guy with the eyeliner, and at the end they go to rescue the sister. She's at the like fair.
Oh,
and there's the horse that almost kills someone.
The third one?
I really liked that one, actually.
They're good. They blur together in my mind, too, especially if you marathon them. Then it's like...
Yeah. No, like actually like marathon them in like 36 hours.
Oh, man. That's rough.
Yeah.
All right. I think you're going to fare well in our rapid fire 15, but as we've discussed with you and plenty others, it's not so rapid. We'll have to come up with another name.
No, it's not a cool test. It's really just like your taste, first thing that comes to mind on some of these things. We don't ask like, list anything other than like maybe your favorite this, favorite that.
I know. So, I'm just one of those horrible actors that doesn't actually watch that many movies.
Well, we'll keep it pretty broad. So
I know. I just don't want to be judged.
We try to tailor it to your taste based on some stuff we learned about you. And
okay, fantastic. Cool. We're cheating.
Yeah. So I'll start us off here. What movie do you think you've seen the most in your life?
Oh, man. Probably Good Will Hunting.
Nice. What is your ultimate comfort movie? Like your warm blanket of a movie that you watch to make you feel good?
Ooh. Not a movie, but The Office for a long time. But if I'm talking movies, I always go back to Spider-Man 2 with Alfred Molina.
Great movie.
So good.
How about your favorite Steven Spielberg movie?
Indiana Jones.
Nice. Raiders or?
Yeah.
Raiders,
Okay. Just making sure.
Raiders.
I was waiting for you to say "and the something." I was like,
Yeah, I was like, I don't think anybody's answered that yet. But you can pick so many Spielberg movies.
It's always Jaws or Jurassic Park, it feels like, when we ask that question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And also, there's not really a wrong answer. That's
true. There isn't.
Always?
Yeah, well, I mean, those are all so good.
Lost World? That might be a wrong answer.
Right. Who is your all-time favorite director?
Oh, I don't know that I have an all-time favorite director. I just love so many directors. Like there are such great visionaries out there. Like I'm really, really interested in Lee Winnell's career.
Cool.
Because I thought like Invisible Man and Upgrade were awesome. And so I'm like super interested to see what he does next. I love Ava DuVernay recently. I mean, she's fantastic. There are just so many iconic directors that I could say. James Gunn.
We won't phrase it as all-time single so much as one that comes to mind. Like this next question, which is putting you on the spot a bit. What would you call your favorite acting performance of all time?
Oh, man. Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting is one of my favorites. I might get judged. Well, no, I won't, because I think as many people have, opinions on the movie, I'm going to say, I think everybody's pretty unanimous that Joaquin in Joker is just fantastic, which I love his performance in that movie. I mean, I could say the same thing about Heath as the Joker in The Dark Knight as well. Some fantastic performances there. And I'm trying to think of like another cool one that really captivated me.
Well, you already overachieved and gave us 3. So
yeah. Have you guys Alison Brie in Horse Girl?
Oh, I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard she's amazing.
Have you guys seen?
I've not either, but I've actually heard someone else reference how good she was in that.
She's fantastic. Like Alison Brie is a fantastic actor. Like, she is so talented. And I really loved that movie, honestly. Like, I genuinely loved that movie. And then I saw her she did this comedy with Jason Sudeikis, I think, Sleeping with Other People.
Yeah, it was like an R-rated When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah, I think she's like so different in that movie and so like funny and charming. Like, I love Alison Brie.
On the same page with you there.
So what is your dream role? Like, if you could play any character from a comic
Marvel
book
movie.
Or
Marvel movie.
Yeah, any Marvel
Now, hold on. Now, you say Marvel movie. Are you able to, without giving anything away, in case you're in the running for anything currently?
I'm not.
Is there a particular character? Is there a particular...
Richard Rider, Nova.
Richard Rider Nova. James Gunn has had him in an early draft of, 3 movies now? Guardians 1, Guardians 2. He's only
and James Gunn follows me on Twitter.
And you are perfect for him, too.
Well, see, that's the cool part, is that, like, OG Richard Rider was, like, developed as, like, a Peter Parker type kid, but in the 70s.
Right.
So I feel like it would just be, like, so cool. Except I just don't want to be the only other teenage superhero in the MCU and just have, like, 2 pale white boys with brown hair and like English features. There's just like so much room for like more inclusivity and like different things like that, so. Sure.
And I believe they're moving that direction right now.
Yeah, Phase 4. Exactly. Let's put some other like people in there, flesh it out a little bit, and then I'll come in later. But yeah, I mean, like,
it's a grown
Richard Rider Nova, or I think in WandaVision they're introducing the twins, so I could be like Wiccan or something, which would be so sick to play a character named Wiccan with the last name Druid. Like, are you serious?
That's a match made in heaven.
I know, it's so cool.
Or hell, depending on your perspective. Pagan hell. I don't know.
Well, a follow-up to that in a way, as a fellow Marvel fan, what is your favorite film to date that exists in the MCU?
The Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. It's
Winter Soldier.
For me as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Winter Soldier is my favorite. That might also be one of my other like warm blanket comfort movies because I've seen that movie so many times. But just that opening sequence when he's like running on the ship, just kicking people off the boat, and that sick score comes in. I know like people like to give Marvel a hard time with their like film composing, but I think that the Winter Soldier has one of the best and like most recognizable soundtracks when he's on that. I don't remember what that ship is called, but it's cool. And he kicks people over the boat and he throws the knife into that one guy's hand as he reaches for the alarm. Yeah. You have, Batroc the Leaper, which is such an obscure villain to put in the movie. So cool.
The action choreography is so good that, I did not pay attention to the name of the boat or whatever. Like, I was really focused on the cool action.
Yeah, I'm just a nerd. I pay too much attention. Like, I think I probably have like the acronym for SHIELD like memorized.
Nice. I don't.
Strategic Homeland Intervention and Enforcement Logistics Division, right?
Yes.
That's the MCU version. It's slightly buried in the comics.
It is slightly different.
Becky, I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm also a big.
Oh, I know. I know your former days moonlighting in the comic industry. All right. Maybe you both have to answer this next question then. Who is your all-time favorite comic book villain?
Green Goblin. Wait. Well...
Good answer considering Spidey's your all-time favorite.
Yeah, I mean, well, because then I'm also thinking, Joker is just so iconic. But I feel like that's the easy way out. I should say something obscure, like, is Arm Fall Off Boy a villain since he's in the Suicide Squad? That's Nathan Fillion is playing.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the roll call come out after the DC fandom this past week.
So funny. Yeah, what a good character.
Sean, what's yours?
There's iterations of Lex Luthor in the past 20 years I've really, really enjoyed when he just plays it as a...
Jesse Eisenberg?
No, that's the opposite of the iteration I enjoyed. I like Jesse Eisenberg, don't get me wrong. I never can get down with that interpretation in the DC movies. But no, when he's just kind of an antithesis of Batman, where he's just kind of hates Superman because he's an alien and thinks human beings can kind of solve this without foreign help.
Yeah.
Philanthropist version of him, not the silly 1970s version necessarily, but...
Yes, also a good choice.
All right, one more comic one. What would you say might be your favorite comic book series or story arc or kind of self-contained graphic novel? I know Spidey is your favorite character, but is there a particular one of his or one of the darker?
Just a lot of the Ditko run, I think, is just some of my favorites. There are some like very Ditko stories with Mysterio that I like, right. And then I like some of the Todd McFarlane Venom stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about like specific runs, but yeah.
No, but you're a fan because the Ditko stuff predates you and me both. So you've gone back and discovered some stuff.
Oh, yes. I've gone back very far. And well, because it's also like comics are one of those things where it's impossible to trace down every single thing. You know, you have to just kind of wait for like the next reboot if you want to start fresh, which is like, as someone like me who's like very like completionist, it's one of the things that I hate the most about comic books. So, you know, when I was younger and had no money, I spent a lot of time on the Pirate Bay just looking for access to books so that I could read them. And then like one of the coolest things about, you know, then getting to be a young kid and getting to make my own money by being in performing arts and doing this job was I remember when Kevin Feige did that reveal at the El Capitan for Phase 3, and he had, you know, said Captain America, Serpent Society, and then he changed it to Civil War. And I was always like, oh man, like I want to read Civil War before the movie comes out, you know, but I have no money. So I ended up pirating it and I read Civil War that way. And then, you know, I made money. And one of the first things I went and did was I bought physical copies of them so that I could give back and, you know, kind of help support these creators of these things that I really, really enjoyed. So I've got, you know, a hardcover version of Civil War on my shelf. I've got the entire giant volumes of the manga Akira. I've got like a bunch of like box set DVDs of Dragon Ball Z because I used to just watch those for free because I couldn't afford it. And now that I have money, I've just got a Crunchyroll subscription or a Comixology subscription.
No, that's cool. And Mark Millar, for all his issues some people might have with his writing overall, the way he had Cap and Spidey in the Civil War comic, there's like a 6-page segment where they're talking to each other that's kind of an all-timer for me. And the speech Cap gives that Spidey just fawns over, it gets repurposed in the Civil War movie. But yeah, that alone makes that trade worthwhile.
I agree. Because I know like everybody likes to give Civil War a hard time, but it's just so iconic. And I mean, it's obviously had an impact on like the greater MCU too. So it's worth something.
All right. You ready to transition to a different form of nerddom? Video games?
Yes.
What is your favorite video game or video game franchise?
Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
What are you playing right now? As a bonus question.
Right now, I'm playing just a lot of Warzone, just like a lot of Call of Duty Warzone, because I play on PC, and it's just, you know, kind of what so many games have just transitioned to battle royales. And like Call of Duty was probably one of the first like super competitive games that I got into. And so now it's just like one of the easier ones to just keep up with friends because it's like so current.
I play COD as well. I grew up on Counter-Strike. That was my
Source?
Yeah. Actually, before Source.
Before Source?
Yeah. Back when it was Counter-Strike.net. When it
oh
was
my gosh.
Because it originally started as a mod. Of Half-Life.
Yeah,
I know.
I remember that too.
Yep. So before you could even like purchase Counter-Strike, I was playing it as a mod. So cool. And then, you know, they ended up, Valve ended up purchasing Counter-Strike, the mod, from the creators and making it an actual official part of the Valve catalog. So, yeah.
That's so sick.
Yeah, but been playing a lot of Warzone myself lately, so.
Have you played Valorant?
No, I haven't.
It would scratch that CS itch for you.
Yeah. I just need enough friends to play too, because I'm big into the competition and the multiplayer aspect of it. So I need enough people playing with me.
I feel. I tried playing it for a while, but it's just got such a high skill ceiling where again, like I can fare pretty well. Like I can top frag sometimes, but yeah, you need like a good, 5-stack, 6-stack to like really go in and like try to play ranked. I was really big into like competitive Overwatch for a long time, which was so much fun. And I hope that Overwatch 2 kind of breathes new life into it and like gets the community excited again. Because I don't like when it gets to this time of the year where everybody's kind of just on one game.
Yeah.
I like having variety and option. And I like competition because it then breeds innovation between the different developers, which is cool. It's like, well, it's cool that I get like a new Call of Duty to, play around with every year. I hope that we get like more and more and like different stuff. And I hope that a lot of this like cross-platform stuff now that like Sony and Microsoft are letting people do that. Like I hope that also leads to just, more people playing more games and stuff.
Yeah, that was the best part of the latest Call of Duty was that they actually made cross-platform play functional. And I hope, because I play on PC, but everyone I know is on Xbox or PlayStation. So I don't play games with other people because of that. So
yeah, this is like one of the first Call of Duties I've actually been able to like play with my castmates, which has been cool.
Very cool.
Have you switched over to the Twitch world yet?
Oh yeah,
Twitch game?
I've got a Twitch. I was streaming some like 2 weeks ago, and then I filmed a movie, so I had to stop. And then I was excited to get back to it, and then my AC broke, so I had to totally evacuate my little setup. Yeah, I'm excited. I will work with like some awesome companies that have helped me like get everything kind of ready for streaming. I work with NZXT, who built my computer, and they're awesome. I work with LG, who supplies my monitors, and they're so cool. And it's like I have a 21:9 ultra wide, 175 hertz, 1440p. It's like it is so many pixels to push that my graphics card for the longest time, like I could barely run the game, let alone stream on top of it. So now I'm like super lucky because I just partnered with EVGA too, who's always made my favorite graphics cards because their coolers are just so good, and my studio gets so warm because it's like very insulated. So EVGA sent over a 2080 Super that I installed, and it's awesome. And we've got the 3000 series cards coming out. I think it's in a month. NVIDIA is doing their thing. And perhaps you will be able to see me doing some sort of cool stuff with EVGA at some point in the middle of next month.
Very cool.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And hopefully, getting in on the new 3000 series cards. And I'm also even talking to them about one of the worst parts about actually filming the PLAE DOOR was that I didn't have my gaming computer with me. So I'm actually talking with them about, I've wanted to build, there's an awesome subreddit called SFFPC, which is for small form factor PCs, which is where people build these like super awesome, like console killer PCs inside these tiny little cases that look like a lunchbox. And so I'm talking with the guys at EVGA about building an awesome little tiny PC that I could fit in like one of those Pelican cases and then take on a plane with me for future projects, which is going to be cool. And then that can double as a streaming computer when I am home. That way my personal computer can just run the game and I don't lose any performance. And that'll be
Becky,
cool.
We got him in early. Now he's going to be insufferable because he's getting big time. He's going to get his Marvel movie, and his writer will be like, I need a full 8x8,
no, man.
Ropes, velvet ropes around like a setup. We've seen actors with demands like that have their own Xbox station.
No, I would just, the only thing that I'm getting increasingly annoyed at on like trailers and stuff is just the lack of internet access, just because everybody needs it. Even like working on 13 Reasons Why in our, trailers for hair and makeup, they would have to send photos of hair and makeup approval to producers who were on set. And the photos couldn't even send because they had no Wi-Fi. And it's like so then makeup would have to take photos and then run to the other side of the set just to show them to people and then come back. So I'm like, it's 2020. Everybody needs internet to be able to do their jobs properly.
Yeah, time is precious. You're wasting money.
It's also like, it's not something that's just going to benefit the actors or the transpo guys, sitting over there.
Exactly.
Jumping back in, what is your favorite ride or attraction at Disneyland and or Disney World if applicable?
So Disneyland, my girlfriend loves Disneyland, and they comp me some tickets with a tour guide for her birthday every year. Just once a year for her birthday. And it's the one cool thing I get to do as an actor for my girlfriend. So she's really cool about that. I love the Incredicoaster. She hates it. I also love the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. And she sometimes likes it, except for when it gives us the Jackson 5 song, because that one has it's like the most intense. Like on the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, it has different songs that have different levels of intensity. And I'm pretty sure the Jackson 5 song is the most intense one, and she hates it.
That's what I got when I went.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was sick, but it's always a little bit scary, but it's still cool. And we also love Space Mountain.
Nice.
This last time we went, I went and built my own lightsaber, which was so cool. Have you guys done that yet?
I haven't built.
Not yet.
I've been to the, what is it called again? No,
Galaxy's Edge.
Galaxy's Edge, thank you. I've been to Galaxy's Edge, but I haven't built my own lightsaber.
It's so cool. Did you guys try the blue milk?
No.
Disgusting.
Yeah, it sounds like
horrible. It is like it's like if you took Jell-O and ice and mashed it all up together, and it kind of tastes like Skittles.
Okay, so speaking of food. So you have to kill one of these foods, meaning one has to go and you only get to keep. Yep, I'm going to give you 3 and one has to go away.
This sounds horrible.
I know, it is. I'm demented. Okay, Twizzlers, popcorn, or soda. So it's movie theater.
So easy. Kill Twizzlers. I hate Twizzlers.
You do?
Garbage. This is easy. I don't
Wait
like
a minute. That's some bad information I got from
I know,
the
we
set.
did. I
Really?
thought you liked
Were you
Twizzlers.
eating a red vine on set, possibly?
No.
Okay. I have to have a talking to with Aaron.
Okay, what
Somebody
candy?
told you that I like Twizzlers? Somebody lied.
I was going to say you're nuts because when red vines exist in this world, which are better than Twizzlers, and they're still not good, but they're
They're
good.
good.
I also just did a little 2002 Sam Raimi Spider-Man reference. I don't know if you caught that.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Missed it because I was mad at Twizzlers. And
That's fine.
Okay, what candy do you like at a movie theater? What would you get?
So I always do. So here's the trick, right? You get popcorn and then you ask for an extra straw. And that extra straw you put in the popcorn. And then when you go over to the butter, you put the part of the straw that's sticking out of the popcorn on the butter thing. And you squirt the butter so that it's at the bottom of the popcorn. And then you get M&Ms and you put those in the popcorn. And there you go. I'm a salty sweet guy. I have a big sweet tooth.
Oh, me too. I love salty sweet.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's my go-to. Buttery popcorn with some M&Ms. Dibs are good. Junior mints, classic.
So if it were to say M&Ms, popcorn, or soda, which one would you kill?
I would probably say M&Ms just because I could still supplement that with a different chocolate candy.
Yeah, there's Reese's. There's other kinds of
there's Kit Kats. There's only one popcorn.
All right. Acceptable answer. I think I would go with the same anyway.
Winding down here, what is your best or your favorite concert experience you've ever had?
Oh, my favorite, 21 Pilots. I've seen them like 6 times now. They're still my favorite, but I went to the My Chemical Romance reunion show at the Shrine.
Nice.
Which I grew up a huge My Chemical Romance fan, but I never got to see them in concert. And then they broke up and I cried and it wasn't cool. And then I managed to wrap on season 4 and get back to town in LA just in time to get to go see the show. And I was waiting in line and Mikey Way, the, bassist and brother of Gerard Way, he had followed me on Twitter, which was I was freaking out. And I never, whenever somebody super cool follows me, I'm very good at not trying to message them. But I was in line and I was like, I have to. So I sent him a little DM and I was like, hey, not trying to bother, but I've always been a huge fan and I never got to see you guys. And I'm in line outside right now. I'm so stoked. Good luck. You guys are going to kill it. Have fun, man. And he was like, oh, dude, thanks so much. If we have time, you should come backstage afterwards. I was like, ah. And I didn't get to go backstage afterwards, but we text and he's one of the coolest people I've talked to, one of those people that I look up to in the performing arts industry, which is so cool. But yeah, 21 Pilots probably has one of the best live shows you can go and see though. Cool.
All right. Your go-to karaoke songs.
I don't karaoke.
That's actually a really common answer.
Can I say tequila?
There you go.
You can say anything you want,
yeah.
I've also actually the one time I have karaoke, I actually did the Welcome to the Black Parade.
That works.
Yeah, it's one of the MCR songs that even people that don't listen to that kind of music know it.
And also, it's a good crescendo. You can really just kind of almost talk sing it for a little while until it hits that point.
Yeah,
and then you have free reign to belt it out because you've already sucked the audience in for a solid 2 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah, you either do Welcome to the Black Parade or you do Bohemian Rhapsody.
All right, and finally, you may have mentioned a song already, but what would be your walk-up music? Say your interest theme for your TED Talk, or if you were a fighter or a ball player or a wrestler. Or something.
Man.
What's your intro music?
What is my intro music?
What's Devin walk out to?
You know what? I'm going to do something totally obscure, something that nobody would expect. I would probably end up doing some music from Hatsune Miku or some other Japanese Vocaloid or something. Or Grimes. I don't know. Just something really obscure and bizarre. Because it would be more fun.
That would disarm people.
Exactly.
Not be sure what's coming.
You're you don't know me. You think you know me, but you don't really. Welcome to my TED Talk.
They'll have no idea what it's about based on the music either.
But it's gonna
Today we're going to be talking about subverting expectations.
Right.
Awesome.
Thematic elements of Spider-Man 2, building your own console. There's all kinds of things, all kinds of routes you could go.
Yeah.
That's the end of the Rapid Fire 15. You get plenty of fine answers. In fact, multiple answers from many.
And it wasn't that rapid either.
No. It never is. It didn't feel that bad when you're going through it, right?
No.
Hopefully.
I think I genuinely gave my answers pretty quick. So I think I get points there. But I think I get points taken off by the fact that I ramble on afterwards.
No, you're good. Trust me. We've had worse ramblers, and we've had people with one word answers. So,
all right, sick.
You mentioned music a bit, and we've kind of beat around it a few times. You're kind of an audiophile, as you expressed, and you even create your own. Did you have a formative experience that got you into music, even before like 21 Pilots, maybe, or is it just something that always kind of appealed to you, just because it's another form of storytelling? Or
yeah, I've always loved music. Like I said, my mom sang a lot growing up, and I always loved music, and I think music got me through a lot. Specifically as a kid, I don't think there were a lot of other forms of media that really targeted young kids and talked about serious issues and, serious, common things that people might have been going through at that age. I mean, off the top of my head, I can think of like Degrassi, and maybe that's it. Yeah, I think for just a long time, like My Chemical Romance helped me through a lot when I was young. And then through that, reading The Umbrella Academy and things like that. And through there, getting into comics and seeing like more things like mutants and the X-Men and things that kind of helped me, realize like everyone's kind of a misfit and like you can find your place in different ways. And that there's, ways to stumble through life until you get out of the dark tunnel. So I think like music has always been a large catalyst in leading me to places that I probably needed to be and leading me out of the places that I couldn't stay in. And there was just a moment, I was filming season 2 of 13 Reasons Why, and like not to get too into it, but it was basically like I couldn't sleep at all during the season, and I was doing a lot of really dark, heavy research for my character, and it just led me to this place that I just could not stay in. And the way I was able to leave that place was by, I went to Guitar Center and I bought a little MIDI controller that came with a free trial of Ableton Live, and I just started making noises and making those noises correspond with emotions and things that I was feeling. And it ended up becoming like a personal diary, which was just way more cathartic for me. And it was more of like an outlet. And most importantly, it was something that I could do myself. It was constructive. It wasn't something that I didn't need outside help in order to create it. I guess maybe you'd expect an actor to, go and develop the script detailing their trauma and that would be the way through it. But that always to me felt impossible because I was like, I don't know how to write a script. I've never developed a screenplay. I've never taken a class on it. I don't know like producers that would even help me make a short. I don't have the money to do that sort of thing. Whereas, any kid with a laptop can make a dance hit that goes viral on SoundCloud or something that can, also tell a story. And I just think that the idea of being able to craft this thing that was all mine and then be criticized by my ability, I think was appealing to me. And then it just transformed into something that's become a passion. And then over that month of filming in Guthrie, Oklahoma on the PLAE DOOR, I actually ended up writing and developing an entire concept record that I'm working on. I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day, but it's a cool story, at least to me, and they're interesting sounds.
No, that's cool. And you have some varied interests, of course, but do you see this ever going beyond more than a hobby? Is it something you've ever thought about blending into something you shoot or something you've made?
I mean, if I were to work on a movie and, there was someone on the production side of that movie or show that heard something I made and they were really interested in it and they approached me with, an offer of being able to write and develop a song with, a professional producer and like get it done, I wouldn't turn it down. Like that, I feel like that would be really cool. Because like as of now, I am like developing everything just in my room by myself, but there's still so much I don't know. And there's so many, different hardware and software tools that I don't have access to that, with an opportunity like that, I would have access to and I could learn so much more. And it would be really cool to actually see firsthand how a finished song is professionally made. If someone ever approached me with, an offer like that, and some cash, I'd have to be paid.
Nice. Well, that's good. Too many people work for free and that creates a cyclical problem in the arts industry.
Yeah, no, I need money. I have a mortgage.
Exactly. Speaking of paying the mortgage, what's next for you? Do you have anything coming up that you can share? Obviously you're in the PLAE DOOR, which is available now, but is there anything that people should be keeping an eye out for? Yeah,
I mean, COVID has kind of turned the whole world on its head. So it's been difficult, but I was fortunate enough to get to work on an entire movie about a week ago. This whole like 90-page script we filmed in 3 days on a set with a crew. It was a set that's all like one room and a very, very slimmed down crew so that we could, stay safe and regulated and everything like that. But it was cool. We had an actual cast and we all got to see each other and work in the same room. And it was nice to be able to, have that experience, and just to say that I made a movie during a global pandemic is cool. So I don't know what's going on with that movie right now. I mean, obviously they're gonna edit it and cut it together. The hope might be to put it to Netflix or some other streaming platform, but it was really cool. They might be doing a press release for it, so I don't want to say too much. But I am announcing, there will be an official announcement soon about a movie that I filmed this month, which was a lot of fun. And it's really cute and quirky. And I think it would be like a really like fun comfort movie to watch. And then, just, hopefully we can, get through the rest of this craziness safely and get to a point where, we don't have to deal with this virus anymore and everybody can go back to work, and maybe Sarah Finn will give me a call.
I think it's a matter of time, man. You had nothing but high marks from folks on the PLAE DOOR crew side, and Aaron sings your praises all the time, and it's justified just based on what we've seen in front of the camera, and as we've seen here for the last hour and change. So anywhere we can find you online? I know you have an Instagram with quite a following where you can direct people to. Yeah,
I mean, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch at Devin Druid or /Devin Druid on everything. If it doesn't have a check mark next to it, don't trust it. I just post some photos of my cats on my story a lot. Sometimes some like bizarre music stuff. And I've been like very fortunate to get to work with some like really cool companies on some cool stuff right now that I've been putting on my stories and stuff. I just got some beautiful new golf clubs. So once this heat wave goes down, I can't wait to show everybody how horrible my backswing is.
Well, it sounds like there's something for everybody, whether it's gaming, comics, acting, golf.
What can I say?
Like
I'm a
music.
well-rounded guy.
You are.
Renaissance man.
Nah.
Not quite the movie that Dead Poet Society was, but kind of in the same vein.
Yeah, similar.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Devin. It's been a pleasure getting to know you better and nerding out with you on a variety of topics.
Agreed. We very much appreciate the time.
Yeah, no, thank you guys so much for having me. It's been like so fun to get to just talk and just be normal,
Yes, we all need doses of that, daily doses of normalcy. Well, thank you again, Devin. Take care.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Take care. Stay safe.
Thank you.